Okay. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order and do the land acknowledgement. The municipality of Dysart acknowledges that we are on the traditional territory known as the Williams Treaty First Nations, which includes Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Alderville, Scugog Island, Rama, Boswell, and Georgina First Nations. And we thank these nations for their care and stewardship over this land. And could I have a resolution to adopt the agenda?
Sure. So be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council of the municipality of Dysart et al. Held on December 12th, 2023 be approved as presented.
Okay, mover and seconder, Tammy and Nancy, all in favor? Carried. Any disclosures of pecuniary interest?
Yeah, Murray, I do. I've got a land severance and zoning adjustment there.
Okay, thank you. And adoption of the minutes.
Okay, be it resolved that council approves the following meeting minutes as circulated. Regular meeting of council, November 28th, public meeting November 28th. Special meeting of council, we had one on December 5th and December 8th.
Okay, is there any discussion from those minutes? Okay, I have mover and seconder. Carmen Berry, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Any updates from Walt in the county?
Well, we can't hear you, just so you know. Sorry about that.
Alan Murray to turn his on. No, we're gonna be electing the warden today. So that'll be some exciting news for our community.
Okay, and we're still working on the short-term rental bylaw, and for every positive note we get 2 or 3 negatives, so I don't know where that's gonna go. Okay, delegations, and Angel Taylor? Do you want to come up here, Angel?
Yep.
Mr. Mayor, would you like us to begin?
Yes, just go right ahead.
Okay,
You turn on your mic there.
I
You
did.
did, you're good.
Hope
You're
you can be
you're
all
good.
hearing us.
Yep, you sound great.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Mayor, Mr. Mayor, members of council, staff, and members of the public. We're here to talk about the return of the farmers market to Head Lake Park. I just want to parenthetically mention, I have a mild tremor that affects my voice. I ask your indulgence. We'd like to begin by briefly introducing ourselves. I'm Angel Taylor, been in the county 26 years. I'm a founding member of the market. I've been involved with the board from the very beginning and a vendor for 12 years.
I'm Ron Lofthouse, and I'm a member of the board as well. I've been a county resident for 15 years and a beekeeper for 60 years with up to 80 hives of bees. I've been a vendor for 12 years and a board member for 2.
Our goal is twofold. We would like to see a flourishing market in a flourishing community. Head Lake Park, we know, is a place where the market flourishes. We've been there for 11 years. We have a track record. We know that our vendors do excellently. It's our best attended market. Flourishing community There's extensive research and documentation about the multiplier, significant multiplier that farmers markets bring to the community. In fact, Farmers Markets Ontario, of which we are a member, it, by the way, is the only provincially approved body to speak for farmers markets with over 180 members, reports that over the last 10 years, $800 million occurred in direct farm to shopper sales to the farmer. Let me repeat, by sales of the farmer to shoppers, with 2.5 billion accruing to the local community. That's a multiple of 300% over what is made in the market.
We've got a letter from the Halliburton BIA, and I'd like to read that. It's from David Zylstra, who is the chair. On behalf of the Halliburton business area merchants, please accept this letter of our support to have the Tuesday Halliburton County Farmers Market in Halliburton move back to its former location in Head Lake Park. Tuesdays this spring and summer were disappointing for the merchants in downtown Halliburton. With the farmers market tucked out of sight, the amount of visitors and shoppers downtown were down significantly. Furthermore, the atmosphere changed each Tuesday. In prior years, Market Day was a fun day, a day when the town was bustling. People were happy. It was busy and cash registers were ringing. Just the view of the market from Highland Street drew people to the market, and after that downtown to the merchants. That connection is now broken. It can be fixed easily by moving the market back to its old location. At the current location, new visitors to our town will not find the market. A few signs just does not cut it. Here are 3 examples of how much sales were down at BIA businesses each Tuesday in 2023 compared to 2022. Country Pickens was down an average of 40 to 60% compared to 2022. Gleikoff's family store on average was down 15%. Russell Red Records on average were down 30%. Staffing levels were also reduced. Thank you, David Zylstra, Chair.
And I might add, my son, Aaron Walker, who owns McKeck's restaurant, reported that when we were in Head Lake Park, lunches that day were better than any other day of the week, including the weekend. And we have heard from other local businesses as well. The market at Head Lake Park is an attractive tourist destination, and in so being, it meets some of the goals both of Dysart and of County Council in terms of drawing visitors to the community. A year ago, County Council approved the destination management plan, the essential goal of which was to optimize the visitor economy. The market does that. And so far as the local council proposal approved, the Rotary Park Head Lake Master Plan identifies Area 9, the very area we were in for 11 years, as the event tent space with room for up to 40 tents. Again, I note that was approved by Dysart Council 3 years ago. Head Lake Park, that location is a great benefit to local agriculture. No, we're not planning on growing things there, but we would like to grow our vendors' earnings, and we know they do well. Farmers markets were created to support local agriculture. In fact, provincial regulations require that a minimum of half plus one vendor be agricultural in order to be defined as a farmer's market. And we meet that spec every year, every time, and sometimes exceed it. So how does it grow local agriculture? When farmers do well, they are incentivized to do more production. Other people are willing to give it a try. Here on the Canadian Shield, we will never have the kind of production you do in the Green Belt, but we can improve. And as we do, we improve local food security. We boost local production. We reduce the carbon footprint. And I will at this point defer to Ron while you read a portion of the letter.
We have a letter from Elisha Malik, excuse me, from Harvest Halliburton. It is crucial to recognize the supporting the farmers market is not only about sustaining a beloved community event, but also about nurturing and encouraging our fragile local agriculture. The market at Head Lake Park has become a vital source of income for many vendors, and its relocation jeopardizes the livelihoods of those who rely on it.
There are other benefits to being in Head Lake Park. One is the accessibility. The convenient pathways work well for people pushing baby strollers, people with mobility issues. I don't have to tell you the significant proportion of seniors we have in the county, and it's easy for them to get around. We did find at Rotary Beach that accessibility was an issue. We heard from mothers. We also heard from people using walkers and motorized scooters that they had difficulty getting around in the grass.
One of the benefits of Head Lake Park were its washrooms, which are absolutely state of the art. We just get all kinds of good comments about the access to fresh water for visitors and vendors. It's easier for workers in local businesses to visit during their lunch break, and Head Lake Park is a very large has a very large area for permitting range of activities. We actually counted as best we could each person, not children, but people that came to our markets. In 2022 at Head Lake, there were 19,719 people that attended. In 2023, a substantial drop to 13,607. Over at Stanhope and Abbey Gardens, in 2022, Stanhope had 3,800 people. We moved that location to Abbey Gardens and found a good increase to the tune of 6,394 in 2023. And in Minden, it went up as well from 2022 at 16,004 to 18,573 in Minden, noting that Rotary was down by 30% and the other two markets were up.
We have some problem-solving proposals. If changing our market hours would help, we're certainly willing to look at that, talk about it, and accommodate. For example, if 10 to 2 helps reduce congestion, we're willing to do that. We also plan to look into ways to make a donation, especially as you work on the master plan, strengthening that area 9, the tent event area. We would invite and welcome a counselor to sit as an ex officio member on our board to enhance communication. In conclusion, we request a decision soon. It may or may not be a surprise that we are already going to be sending out our applications literally before the end of the month. Farmers purchased their seeds at this time of year. They're starting their plants, they're planning production. So we do our applications at this time. Vendors need to know where they are applying to go. We indeed are having a half-day planning event, literally this coming Saturday, to plan for the coming season. So we would welcome the response from you and look forward to a favorable reply. Thank you very much for hearing our delegation, and we conclude with location, location, location. Thank you.
Can you just tell me a couple of questions? How many local farm vegetable people do we have from Halliburton County at the market?
Our 2 biggest producers are from out of county.
Right, I know that.
We have but we don't, it'll be a long time before we have that scope,
Maybe never.
but, well, it may be. What we do have, Mayor Ferry, is a table with discounted vending costs for people with smaller scale production. And so it's a somewhat rotating membership. There might be there 5 days, but we do well in this county with animal husbandry.
Mhm.
So you asked about veg. We have some, and we want to encourage it, but we do also have a fair bit of lamb, beef, and so forth.
Yes, I don't know.
Yeah,
51% of our vendors are agricultural.
and both of us
so-
were ag.
So that means that there'd be over 20. There'd be over 20 agricultural vendors
That are-
in Halliburton.
Now, I guess the other thing, and this isn't coming from me, but it's coming from the community,
Sure.
and I want to get it out in the open. Sometimes there's a fair bit of damage done when you're in there. And since a lot of the vendors are out of the community, they come in here for a day, they take their money and they're gone. Is there any thought about perhaps some remedial help to fix those spots?
We certainly are prepared for that and have discussed it.
Okay.
Absolutely, and are willing.
We don't know
to-
the amount yet, but it's,
Sure.
Yeah.
I would say just one point, Mr. Mayor, that the vast majority of our vendors are not from out of the county. Number one, anybody that's an artisan
right.
must be a resident. I can't think of any. There may be a cookie vendor. There are a couple of other food producers, but I would say easily the overwhelming majority are local people. And And when we talk about the multiplier, it's the visitors to the market that spend the money and the producers. I do also want to point out that agriculture includes veg, meat, honey, maple syrup, wood products, sheep, wool. There can be quite a range, manure, worm castings, all of that is agriculture.
Okay. Councilors, got any questions?
Yeah, again, I'm just kind of following up on what the mayor said there in regard to some, this is the concerns or some of the questions that I get approached to that ask these questions. So one of them is, and I should know this, and I guess other people who live in the community should know this, but what do vendors pay to be at the farmer's market?
About $300 a season.
$300
Per market. So if they're in 3 markets, it would be triple that.
Okay. And basically, our municipalities, other municipalities, we don't get reimbursed any type of a fee for any work that we do, that we have to do, like the mayor was saying there. And this is the question, like people are asking me, they're saying, you know, like you said your numbers are fantastic, which they sure sound like they were, the amount of money that people are taking out of these farmers markets, which is great. But I mean, we can't be subsidizing anything today in this day and age. We're going through a budget right now. And I just think that people are concerned that, you know, maybe it's costing us taxpayers some money, which I know you're generating some business in town and all that. But that's a question that I hear on the street. So somehow I think we should sit down and figure out how much it type, like, I don't know whether we have a set amount of money and if it's not used up with our hourly, the amount of guys that are in there working after you leave and all in our washrooms. They cost a lot of money to build that building. But it's public, I understand all those things, but I'm just saying, these are the concerns that I hear. And like the amount of money you're talking about, these vendors are taking out of our community. They're bringing money in, I understand, but there's a lot of money going out here also, and that's what the concern is.
Through the
Thank you.
mayor, thank you, Councillor McCackney. I will certainly bring that back to our board.
Gacy?
Yeah, sure. In terms of sales, locally, has the farmer's market reached outside of the county to see if there's been any decline in say Bracebridge or Bancroft or what have you on that note? Or is it, we just focused on our numbers here as a
Well,
whole?
we can compare,
Right.
I'm sorry, through the mayor. We can compare the markets right here in the county. 2 did better this past year. If you look at the chart, that one, the only one was the Rotary Beach Park did more poorly.
I see.
We certainly, if you would like us to, I believe the Bancroft market is a tiny market, the last I heard.
Right.
Would you like us to get you some comparative figures?
If it's not too much trouble, like I said, in terms of, you know, say there's an average, I didn't run the numbers, but say there's an average 20% drop in Halliburton's farmers market, whether that's reflected in other markets because the economies and people's discretionary income's down, so they're not at the farmers market so much, right? So. and-
I can ask Farmers Markets Ontario,
Sure.
and what is the best way to return that info? To send it to you?
Yeah, or to Mara, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Secondarily, I think we as a council also have to look at traffic in town. And I'm not a grim reaper of small business by any stretch of the imagination. But again, we got the restaurant and higher volumes within the community in terms of people in cottaging. And then we got a destination park in town for the kids and everything else. So we're trying our best to accommodate everybody in that note. So I appreciate all of your comments today, and I'm sure we'll have a discussion about it for sure.
I had one quick, actually, Pat asked one of my questions here. First of all, that was a very good presentation. Thank you for that. What's your hours now?
12 till 4.
12 to 4. Okay, and you're suggesting maybe a 10 to 2. And again, I'm talking about it's the congestion in town, you know.
Well, that's
on-
what we were
yeah.
thinking. If you see a different configuration, let us know.
Okay. Okay, so 12 to 4 as it is right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
10 to 2 might actually be better when you think about it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
I
10
think
to-
10 to 2 just maybe a little bit better if you think about it.
sure. Well,
At
let
least,
us,
at least some of the people would get into the farmer's parking area
well,
before
they would-
somebody else.
yeah,
I know.
Yeah. well, we're 10 to 2 in Minden. That seems to work well all the way around.
there'd be more people for lunch.
Yeah. Karen, Tammy, Nancy, any questions?
I appreciate that the farmer market's been there and how hard you've worked for all this time, but my biggest concern is the parking along the side of the highway, so it's really reducing egress in and out of town for like all the emergency services. I mean, some days in the summer, you couldn't whip a fire truck down through there just because people are parking haphazardly. So that maybe needs to be more managed, if at all possible.
Okay. So, yeah, and you want an answer fairly quickly then?
If possible, yes.
Yes, we'd appreciate that.
Did you want us to wait?
Well, it depends how many days you have. We'd probably get you an answer in January. That soon enough, or are you?
Well, we have our applications
Oh, I hear you,
going
I heard
out,
you say that.
right? If we could know before they, like within the next couple of weeks, it would, or you're not meeting it.
No, we don't meet again until after Christmas, that's. Well, let's see if we get some time today.
Thank
We'll
you.
get back
very
to it.
Great.
If we don't, we'll have to
Great.
figure it out.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Okay. Mallory, we could have a resolution now?
Yeah, so be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of delegation from Angel Taylor and Ron Lofthouse on behalf of the Halliburton County Farmers Market Association, as well as correspondence from Harvest Halliburton and the Halliburton BIA, requesting that council permit the 2024 Halliburton Village Farmers Market to return to Headlight Park.
Okay, mover and seconder, Tammy and Nancy, all in favor? Carried. Okay, Mr. Manley. How are you today?
I'm well, how are you?
Good.
I should just go ahead.
Yeah, just go
All
ahead.
right. Or for protocol, should I be reading the letter that I sent to council?
No, I think we got it and we've had it.
Okay, all right.
So
Good enough
just,
then.
I think just make your comments.
Right, so I'm here as a follow-up to a meeting we had, I think I was last here in October. Unfortunately, I had a missed opportunity to try to come in November, so I'm glad to make it today before the Christmas break. Essentially, I'm here on behalf of the coalition that includes the Halliburton Highlands Arts Center Foundation and Places for People. And I want to say search, it's not search. Point in Time, thank you, sir. With Point in Time. And looking to what we'd like to do is spur council forward to considerations about what to do with the 90+ acres that are on County Road 21 across from the veterinarian's office. Just be nice to see with all kinds of housing crisis, of course, and with the over 7+ that the county or the Wardens Caucus has put together. It's sort of a great timing could not be better to try to get, I suppose, a move on with plans that could happen with the 90+ acres. I'm not here, and as I was previously too, I'm not here asking for a promise of land for the Art Center Foundation or for any of our delegation. Essentially just looking to see as a concerned citizen and with our coalition to see that maybe something can be handed over to staff and get the ball rolling on what could happen with that property.
Yeah, I think your point's valid.
Right.
We have been thinking about consultants to do.
Right.
Study, and there's such a range of them out there. You gotta make sure you get the right one.
Yeah, yes.
Close to it, so
Yeah.
I think we've had a couple of suggestions
Okay.
to us, so. Yeah, we are going to try and move on that. We,
Right.
like I say, the deal just barely closed, so.
Mhm.
We're not moving as fast as we could, but we're aware that has to be done.
Right. One of our coalition members, the company called Cabin, CABN. They have a foundation that also is not interested, part of their mandate is affordable housing. And Cabin creates sustainable net zero houses, really beautiful designs. And they also take part when they come in for a project, they also do community planning and overall literal plans. So if you're, I could essentially link up council or staff with them too.
We get proposals from those people.
Sure, yes, yeah,
Just get contact with them, and
yes.
gives us a broader broader view to look at.
So yeah, if council would open the door for these kinds of proposals or ideas or send this off to staff. So things can happen between meetings and kind of kick it off, that'd be fantastic.
There's all kinds of possibilities there.
Absolutely, absolutely,
sure.
yes. And an impact can be huge in all respects, and impact downtown and how that works. And we all just heard about traffic and business business effects. So yes, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Good. Any questions for Dan? I think we're pretty clear on what you're asking.
Super. Okay.
Good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
So I'll read the resolution here.
Yes, you will.
Okay, be it resolved, the council acknowledges receipt of the delegation from Daniel Manley, president of the Halliburton Highlands Arts Center Foundation, requesting that council initiate the project to develop the property on County Road 21, further described in bylaw 2023-67.
Move. IEL. Okay. Thank you. Okay, mover and second, Barry and Carm, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, public meeting. Here we
I
go.
can read the resolution to go into public meeting.
Yes, you sure can.
Okay, be it resolved, the council hereby adjourns the regular meeting of council at 9:04 AM. I'm just gonna write that down. To proceed into a public meeting to consider official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment files D08-OPA-2023-005 and D14-ZB-2023-007 Lands of Casey's Water Well and Geothermal Incorporated.
Mover and seconder. Pat, do you have a question?
I know, just Mallory, should I leave the room or go into the?
You can just sit at the back in case there's any discussion, and then that's probably the best. You don't have to leave the room. It's a public meeting, so
Yeah, thanks.
no problem.
Okay, mover and seconder. That's Barry and Tammy, all in favor? Carried. And then we duly note that Pat went to the back of the room. He's a bad boy. He went to the back. Okay. Good morning and welcome. There's nobody here, I guess. I like talking to myself. I do it all the time. The meeting will now come to order. A notice for those in attendance. This meeting will be live streamed to YouTube and recorded. Please note that the recording will be linked to the municipal website. The purpose of the public meeting is to present planning applications in a planning forum as required by the Planning Act. This is a public meeting to consider one proposed zoning amendment and one proposed official plan amendment to the Dysart zoning bylaw. It's council's responsibility to consider all information received to date regarding the applications and to hear and consider any views you may have about these applications. Every person present or registered will have the opportunity to ask questions about the proposals and voice their opinion regarding same. Please state your name and your relation to the application prior to speaking. Each person will have 5 minutes to provide comment or ask question. Please direct all your questions and comments to the chair. Please restrict your comments to planning matters only. After the public meeting is over, council will make a recommendation as to whether or not the proposed zoning amendment should be passed. Council's recommendations will then be considered during the regular meeting of council. Once council has made a decision on the proposed amendment, notice will be circulated as per the Planning Act. All those persons who gave the municipality written notice that they would like to receive notice of the decision will receive a copy. You must make this request in writing to the municipality. The Planning Act specifies that if a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the municipality before the date the municipality to the Ontario Land Tribunal rather, it may not be addressed as a party as an appeal unless the opinion of the tribunal there are reasonable grounds to do so. We will now commence with the public meeting as per the agenda. First is an application. Jeff?
Actually, I'll take this one. So this is for item 3A on the agenda. This is for the KC Waterwell and Geothermal Inc. The application is to recognize the existing business use of the subject property and for the proposed commercial garage in order to facilitate the service of fleet vehicles. The proposed requires that the owner change the official plan designation of the property from mineral aggregate resource overlay designation to employment area overlay designation, and to rezone the property from extractive industrial to general industrial exception zone to recognize the existing and intended use of the subject property and for the reduced rear yard setback and to recognize the existing lot frontage. The property has legal access to Glurt Road. All neighboring property owners within 120 meters of the subject lands and appropriate agencies have been circulated for comment on November 21st, 2023, and the advertisement for the application was placed in a local paper. At the writing of this report and to date, no comments have been received. The proposal is generally consistent with the provincial policy and with the changes to the official plan and zoning. It will represent good planning. If council considers the application, the recommendation included at the top of the report may be appropriate.
Okay. So no comment from the public then?
No.
I think it's pretty straightforward, pretty self-explanatory. Do any members of council have any further questions or comments? So this concludes the public meeting for file number D08 OP 2023-05.
So I'll read the resolution. It's a long one, so buckle up. So be it resolved that the report for files number D08-OP 2023-005 and D14-ZB 2023-10 for the lands of Casey's Waterwell and Geothermal Incorporated, which consists of part lot 8 and 9, concession 5, part 5 in the geographic township of Dysart, municipality of Dysart et al. Be received for information. And that council directs that a bylaw to adopt OPA 4 be brought forward for consideration during its December 12, 2023 meeting. And that council recommends approval of the proposed bylaw. And that council directs that a bylaw be brought forward for consideration during its December 12, 2023 meeting, which would change the zone on the subject land from extractive industrial zone and environmental protection zone to general industrial exception zone and environmental protection zone. And that council recommends that the proposed bylaw be approved subject to the approval of the official plan amendment.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, mover and seconder. Tammy and Walt, all in favor? Carry. Okay. But now we have a resolution to go back to open council.
Sure. Be resolved that council hereby adjourns the public meeting at 9:10 a.m. and reconvenes the regular meeting of council.
Mover and seconder. Carm and Nancy, all in favor? Carried. Okay. The firemen.
Morning,
Okay.
Dan.
Good morning. Are we ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
All right. Well, thank you very much for having me once again to meet up with you, Mr. Mayor and Council, and our staff for all of their support. Just a quick report, a regular update on numbers. Nice to see that for the month of November, we were down a little bit compared to last year once again, which is very nice for the community, seeing that hopefully that means they're all being healthier. A couple of oddball calls. We had an elevator problem, and one simple one that was just a car that was blocking the road became a hazard just because of where it was left. So it's nice to know that sometimes these calls don't tie up our manpower for a great deal of time. So of note, I've added in there for your review if anybody wanted to look it over, with the MNRF agreement for wildfire coverage. It's been brought to my attention for annual review. There has been no changes once again. One of the changes that are concerned is as probably if there was any sort of annexation of lands for different usage. But as of this time, there's been nothing that's been brought to my attention to change, and nothing brought to my attention from the M&R's aspect. So this basically the agreement is letter for letter, exactly like it has been for the last 10 years. The only thing is they brought to my attention what the current rate for the comprehensive protection charge is. And that's a reciprocal charge depending on how much property we're covering for them and they're covering for us. But the rate is up to $1.53 per hectare. And this has a maximum increase of 4% annually. So that's the only difference going forward. That rate has changed over the years. Operation Safer, I want to bring to your attention. It's something that the fire services are working on. They had a big meeting specifically during the Chiefs conference in May, and it was sort of a side topic, but it's become very important. Fire services and the fire marshal's office are really pushing to make sure that we are having full compliance for smoke alarms and carbon monoxide alarms in homes in particular. What they kind of feel is the fire departments have been too generous in going into somebody's house and putting up the alarms for them, and there's been no repercussions for that. So they're trying to, they're saying being the nice guy isn't working. They're actually asking us to start to do more enforcement and send ticketing. They're still okay with us maybe putting up our alarms, but at a nominal fee. So this is the kind of thing that's going forward. I just bring that to your attention. I was happy to say I reported for our that we had an extremely high compliance for our smoke alarm campaign this year. But I just want you to be aware that this is something that's going on provincially. Pardon me. So that being the case, the county fire chiefs, we've started investigating options that we'll offer, and we're going to try and come up with some recommendations in the future for consistency throughout the county of how we feel we can maybe go forward to help implement what this project's Operation Safer wants us to be doing. So, I'll be happy to report from an emergency management aspect. I was able to gather and complete all of the documentation for our annual emergency management compliance submission. That has been submitted, and it is in the hands of our emergency management provincial coordinators that are doing review, but I don't anticipate any problems coming back from that. So although our call volume numbers are up, so as I've been bringing that forward, just to let us know as we're working through budget, as of the end of November, we're looking at a call volume increase of about 11%. Now, that's actual numbers. Now, so that's responses where we actually leave the hall. I've discovered through some of my investigation that our time has maybe been reduced a little bit because we've actually been, knock on wood, had less structure fires this year. We're down by about 7 compared to what the last averages for the last 8 years. And of course, that ties up more manpower. We very luckily have 15 to 19 firefighters show up, and those calls can take anywhere from 3 to 10 hours. Compared to a medical where we send out 4 or 5 firefighters and gone for an hour at a time. So that's all I have to report. If there's any questions on that?
Oh, Nancy?
So Dan, now that we have a year-end total for the accidents, not snowmobile, there's 40. Is there any way to capture how many of those we've been able to bill because they've been on the provincial highway?
Yes, I can go back to that. And
But we are doing that routinely, correct?
I've been trying to, yes. Now, I'll be honest with you, I had a bit of an issue with the MTO's web program this year. And actually, one of the nice things is the fact with the construction going on through the 118, we actually had lower calls through the highway this year. So the nice thing with that is the highway calls are often more serious because they're often incidents at a higher rate of speed. So during the construction, we had less incidents because there was controlled traffic flow through there. Unfortunately, now that the construction has completed, we've started to have a couple more accidents on the 118 again. So I don't have the exact number. Oh, actually, if you give me a moment, I might be able to tell you how many I have sent out. There are 3 that are pending to the MTO right now that I actually looked this morning just to see if they were readily available.
And I guess it would be a question for Barbara. Where does that money go when it comes back in? Does it go back into the fire department budget? I would hope.
I believe we allow for it in the budgeting process. We estimate how much revenue, so that's accounted for within the budget already. So hopefully I get that right.
I don't need the number right now, Dan. It's fine.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's not a lot.
We were aggressively kind of watching that and billing for it.
Okay. Yeah, no, there's probably about 10 that I have billed out to the MTO. I would estimate off the top of my head. It's not a large number. So
Yeah.
Dan, I see that number of smoke alarm calls are up almost double this year from last. Are you having any trouble with the newer type alarms being extremely sensitive? We've had a couple that I know when we're building our houses, a couple that were touchy.
So yes, we have had run into that. There's been one sort of a bad batch there. So we've run into one location in particular that had 3 or 4 different alarms of this particular type. And over the course of a few months, we were only there once, but I had discovered that they had run into a similar issue again and ended up replacing all of them. One of the biggest problems is since the building code has changed, it's going back about 5-6 years ago, maybe more. The number of carbon monoxide and smoke alarms that are going into homes. So just the sheer volume of devices that are in these places now, as opposed to we used to have 1 per level on a house. You had a bungalow with a basement, you had 2 alarms in there. You might have a 3rd alarm depending on what the bedrooms are. But now we're building these places that have 3 or 4 bedrooms. They have to have 1 per level. They still need to have them outside the alarms, outside the bedrooms. And then you factor in sometimes they don't get the combination units. And so the number of devices going into a house, you can have 14 or 15 of them. So there's just a sheer volume of devices that are being installed and how fast they're being manufactured. I mean, even if they had even a 1% failure rate, we're going from 100 units up to 1,000 units. So that's just an increase in itself. And then also, in general, we're having more people that moved into their houses on a more permanent basis. And part of it, we need to work on better education, which we're trying to do. But we get called out with the newer units. They now provide an end of life. So they start alarming after their 7 or 10 years. And people don't know what that alarm is. So we're getting called out for those as well. So that's an opportunity to educate them immediately. But in general, if we can get the word out to more people, that might have them investigating further before they're calling us.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay, anything else for Dan? Sounds like it's good, Dan.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Resolution then?
Okay, be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the fire department report for November 2023.
Mover and seconder. Barry and Nancy, all in favor? Carried. Okay, Andrea?
Morning. So I've got put together just a summary of some of the projects or the highlights from the Parks and Rec Department for 2023. This doesn't include regular maintenance items, but just to highlight some of the larger projects that were worked on. So under projects in general, we had the Wilkinson boat launch, Head Lake Park Playground, permanent privy and Harcourt, the Harcourt Outdoor Rink, and the West Guilford Outdoor Rink, Rotary Beach installations and grant work, and that's still ongoing. Help with the glebe work at Glebe Park maintenance, completing the ski shed, new wiring and lighting on the ski trail, and installation of memorial benches. And the memorial bench programs.
Did we put the lighting on the ski tail?
They helped with the lighting. I'm not sure who the bill went to. That would be a, pardon?
Who paid for it?
We had to pay for the parts that were moved because of the housing going in for the student housing that was relocated because of that.
But it's not our system.
No, in general, they look after the lighting.
Yeah, I want to make sure of that.
And then some of these things were definitely touched on during the budget presentation, but the museum with the new furnace system and heat pumps, new roof on a portion of the municipal office, temporary repair of the museum barn roof, eaves trough replaced on the south side of the squash courts, and then the public works building, they've had the new accessible doors installed, and the main front door of the municipal office replaced, and the pump shed on the Victoria Street, the roof collapsed earlier this fall, so that was replaced, and then the Rhodes Garage had 3 man doors put in. Over at the arena, just to give you an idea, they hosted in 2023. There's still one more to go this year, but there's by next weekend they'll have hosted 10 tournaments, which is mostly minor hockey tournaments, but it also includes the Grass Creek, or Kobe Islander as people know it as. So that's a big tournament. Hockey Haven and other summer programs. We have weekly rental groups, which minor hockey makes up majority, but we also have many different men's groups that rent the ice. And then there was some snack bar renovations, the flooring, trim, paint, and replacing of the dishwasher. Those were all required. Some of that was issued through the health unit that those be done. New skate trainers were purchased. We used to have those red plasticky ones that fell apart. So we got something much more sturdy and stable, and it allows for 2 to be stacked. So an adult can use them without having to hunch over, and kids, they're just much more sturdy. We were able to get the arena boards cleaned this year. That was something that during COVID, no companies were coming up here, weren't willing to do that. So we worked together with Minden Hills last year, found a company to come up, and then they cleaned both arenas the same week. So that helped us out. So that was a big thing because it hadn't been done in a few years. The lobby washrooms have had new countertops, sinks, and taps with motion sensors. They work with Dyson to add more fire extinguishers. There's an electronic screen in the lobby, which instead of purchasing software for it, we use software that we use in-house to do publications and everything, and it works really well. So that's been a big improvement. Interior painting, and then making sure that TSSA is up to compliance after some refurbishments, and new respirators to handle if there's an ammonia leak, or to just handle the ammonia in general. And then in programs and events, as mentioned earlier, or in budget, we have youth soccer, which was at capacity, women's soccer. So we ran a summer session and then a fall session. There's youth ball hockey when the ice is out at the arena. Some of the different events were 28 Days of Fun, Color Fest, the New to You Community Yard Sale, and the Jolly Jog. And this year, the New to You, we'd sold all our spots, so we didn't have any additional spots for people. And then there were 17 other events in the park, which are listed. Some of these events are one day or one weekend events, whereas others are things that take place over a series of weeks or days. For instance, Rotary Music in the Park and the Farmers Market. Those are recurring events that happen. But you can see the list there. And as I mentioned during budget, I know that there's a couple, definitely one organization coming to propose 3 new events. But there's others, people that have contacted me inquiring. So there might be some more in the new year coming to ask about using the park or other spaces for events.
Okay, any questions for Andrew?
Actually, if we're gonna discuss the farmer's market later, I don't know if we got any questions for Andrea now about it, or would you be available to come back as part of the discussion later if we do go to deal with the farmer's market?
I'm available all day today.
The only thing I'm thinking is that we don't have we can add it to an agenda item later. I don't know. How you got, or you can discuss it now while Andrea is available. I don't know if you guys want to do that.
I don't care. I don't wanna. I'm almost feel like we're bombarding Andrea maybe on this. I don't know. Maybe she wanna have a little time to
Well,
think
I
about it,
don't,
but
I don't think she's got to make a decision. She just has to convey it.
yeah. or-
Hmm.
Okay then, but Andrea, what are your thoughts on the farmer's market? Like what's our biggest problems down there if we moved it back to where it was?
I think the biggest thing would be that we can close off certain areas for some vendors. There's some areas that and it depends if from year to year, it sometimes shifts, but there is a low-lying area, which we have in the past put some sort of barrier around to keep people from driving over it or going through that. They generally don't set up where it is, but we just don't want anyone even taking their vehicle over that. So that would be just making sure that that is abided by if it were to go back on the Head Lake Park side, and then just avoiding the edges of the pathways when it's really wet. They've been in better shape. The staff have been able to bring up the level too. For a few years, there was like you had the path and then there was a dip, which created a muddy spot. So but the paths are wider now, so hopefully that's not as much of an issue. I think our biggest thing though is just being able to direct the flow of traffic into the park with any event, really.
We've obviously spent all this money on the playground and everything, so you don't think it would really, they work around that fine, I guess.
Yeah, because they're on the other side. The big thing would be just controlling their vendors at how they enter the park and the speed. I know we talked about that. We have it in our park use agreement now that they can't exceed 5 kilometers an hour. Just we don't want anyone rushing into the park for any event, because you might have a kid darting across the parking lot running to the playground or somebody else, and you just don't want any cause for anyone to get hurt. But they abided by that. They agreed to that last year. People were going slower. So.
I had Andrew will be down there, and we can fix that wet area or fix it a lot better than it is now. But we
Okay.
keep mud in it, and once it rains, the mud goes muddy, as we know. So that's not a fix. So I think we could make that a lot better. I'm thinking, always thinking about a little recovery here. I'm just going to throw out a number. There's 40 vendors. What about $25 a vendor? That's $1,000 a day.
I don't know. I kind of like, I don't mind it being down in there. But I totally agree that we need to get something back out. And another thing, I like the 10 to 2. Maybe takes a little pressure off the heavy traffic of people going home and stuff at the 4 or 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And also to your point about the parking, I wonder if there's any way that we could have, I don't know if we do it or they get somebody to do it, to have just somebody walking along the side of the road up there with the vest on and stuff that's sort of directing traffic a little bit, saying, make sure you pull over here. We have to have room for this and that. Just a thought, but
We still should promote parking over by the Rotary Beach.
absolutely.
Not
we
that
could.
far to walk over there.
Oh, no, it's, I can't, that can be a, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, even my suggestion was going to be that even if the vendors themselves park their cars, if there's 40 vendors, there are going to be 40 cars there at some point. So if they parked over at Rotary Beach at least until it was over, might be a better solution to give a try. And, if they can encourage some of the people, people aren't going to carry 3 grocery bags of vegetables back to the car, I wouldn't think. But anyway, encouraging them to park on Rotary Beach would help for sure.
Well, Marie, if we were to charge them what you were suggesting, in the future, we'd have a little money to fix the park up.
Yeah, that's right.
Where you say it's wet, we could actually get some proper aggregate
Yeah.
to put in there.
Yeah.
And the money would go back into the park.
Yeah. And there needs to be some more pavement as you go in there, narrow in one spot, so, but yeah, if we, I mean, it's for them. So, as well as for everybody, so I don't think that's a big onus if you're coming in here and $25 is gonna keep you out. Then you're probably not doing very well at the market.
So you're saying that, every Tuesday?
Yeah.
If there was 40 vendors, it'd be,
$1,000.
yeah. I think that's fair. I'd say it would help build up the fund and be able to fix things as we see at the end of the season what needs to be fixed. And maybe cover some of the costs of some of the men that are, the ladies that are helping out over the summer in there.
Yeah, okay, Andrea?
Just so you're aware, like there's 40 vendors definitely July and August. In May and June, they might only have 20 or 30 vendors. So the number will fluctuate depending on the time of year, because some of the producers of the fresh produce don't necessarily come to the first few market days or weeks, just given the nature of their business.
Sometimes they have more than 40 too.
True. Yes. Yeah. So it will balance out. Balance out. Yeah.
She did say that the vendors each pay $300 for the day, so where that $25 comes out of the 300? Well, she said though, if they had came,
Their membership to the farmers.
okay, so they don't pay anything per se to come to the market? So that's not an onus at all.
No, well, they have to
That
take
fee.
25 out of the 300. Or charge them another, make it 325. If it's that good a place to sell, I think they'll come. And I guess they can get back to us if they don't like. No, $1,000 per time.
Well, that's fine. But I think too, Murray, we've gotten back to have them dictating a parking monitor to walk up and down the highway there to keep everybody back. I think we should make sure they do something like that as well.
Okay.
That might be helpful though, just taking the vendors' cars over to Rotary. It
Yeah.
might not be as bad a parking issue then.
Yeah, and
See that they're walking.
Yeah. So Andrea, then we're asking them to take the vendors' cars that they normally would put in the parking lot.
Mhm.
And park them over in Rotary Beach and walk over.
Yeah.
I know a lot of them drive their vehicle right in there with the display. But, and then it'd be,
And can we ask the vendors to also promote that to their customers for the next time they come to park at
Yeah.
Rotary Beach?
sure,
That's a thing that's written in the agreement?
Yeah.
That would help.
and have a nice sign out there that parking for farmer's market.
So if we give this this handful of suggestions back to them, we'll wait to hear a response and maybe we'll see how it goes this year. And if it goes great, then we're good. And if not, we'll have to adjust it a bit.
We'll adjust it another time, that's right. Okay, have you got it?
And then you want me to include a $25 charge per vendor per
Oh, we want you to
market day,
charge a weekly
a
charge,
weekly. Okay.
about $1,000 a week. What are they, 14 weeks?
More than that.
16, good.
More, it's yeah, you're looking, I think it's 16 weeks actually.
Well, that'll give us some money to fix some things up.
So this is $25 per market day. Is what you're saying, per vendor?
That's how it works out, and we're averaging 40. That's how we're basing the $1,000 on. I know you said there's less in the spring, but yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. Otherwise, they gotta do the paperwork every time, count. They can get back to us if they think that's unfair.
how does council feel about the hours that were suggested, the amended, market hours from 10 to 2?
I think it's
I
positive.
like it.
Yeah, I like it
I'm-
too.
Yeah.
Would you like me to add, kind of try to summarize this in a resolution? Some of the things that were talked about and see if we can get one passed, and then they can come back if there's something else to add to it, or they have more to add. Do you want me to read something?
Yeah, let's see how creative you are.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, it might be worded a little funny. We'll work on it. Be it resolved that council receives the Park and Recreation Highlights 2023 report for information, and further that council permits the 2024 Haliburton Village Farmers Market to return to the Head Lake Park location on the condition that market organizers charge $25 per vendor per market day and provide the funds to the municipality for repairs to the park as a result of the market. Market organizers are directed to work with municipal staff to determine the appropriate layout for the market. And further, that market organizers are directed to have market vendors park on the Rotary Park side and encourage market attendees to park on the Rotary Park side as well. And further directs that the Haliburton market hours be changed to 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Could you also include something like the guys or somebody was saying here about having one of them park the people on make sure that the street isn't our main, like, so the our EMS and fire trucks can get through.
That they assign someone to encourage,
Yeah.
clients or whatever to not park along County Road 21 on Highland Street.
So I can add a line that directs that someone be assigned to direct attendees away from parking on the street.
Yeah, I guess that would. But I thought I heard you say $25 per vendor.
Is that what you were saying? I don't know if I'm getting it correctly. Is it per vendor per market, or what were you thinking?
Why wouldn't we go with a flat rate? $1,000 an event.
I think, Murray, in the shoulder seasons where they mentioned maybe 20 vendors, it might push the.
But then they got more than
Push
40
limit.
at the end of the year.
I don't mind the
Why don't we
25
maybe
myself.
say do a date at such amount per date? Like if you wanna cut it back a little bit on for the first 3 weeks or something and,
Okay, say 700 or something.
yeah, let's say that for the first 3 or 4 weeks and then the main
July and August.
July and August and even half of September, maybe go the $1,000.
Okay, you got that?
So no, so you want 700 when?
July, August and
Sorry, when's it start?
May.
So why don't you say $700 for May and June?
And 1,000 in July, August and September.
Sure.
Did we catch all the months that way?
Is there a October?
It goes until the Tuesday
there
prior to Thanksgiving weekend. So whenever
then
that Tuesday
You
falls.
wanna
So
go
it's
back to
usually,
the 700
Yeah, you
for
have to go
October?
to, you have to go back to 700 for Thanksgiving.
Why don't you just say the $1,000 for July, August, September, and the rest is 700?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you got that? 700 for May and June and October and
Yeah, I'll just do remaining months for 700.
yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna reread it because I'm gonna need to keep it. Unless you want to take a break, it's gonna take me a while to edit it, but is everyone satisfied with
Well,
what
yeah,
we?
you got everything there now, I think.
Yeah, so we're going $1,000 for July, August, September, and 700 for the remaining months.
Right.
Okay,
And we're gonna ask somebody to patrol or keep an eye on the traffic and encourage them to park over there, the vendors. Okay, you heard that? All in favor of that? Nancy and Barry. All in favor, carried. Okay. Boy, that was good. Okay. Okay, Andrea Harcourt.
Yeah, so Harcourt has been going along quite well. We've actually been getting more rentals out there. People are gaining awareness of the Harcourt Community Center. And the Harcourt ladies shared an update of the events and some of the things that are happening that they do. One thing that we were really grateful for was in 2023 at the beginning of February, they helped us with the Harcourt Rink grand opening by offering food, chili, and some other things by donation, and that was really well received. And we also had health and safety training out there for municipal staff from all 4 municipalities, and they provided the lunch option for that. And again, it was really well received, and it created awareness of what the possibility is out there as far as rentals go. In December, actually, it's already passed. They sold tortilla pies as a fundraiser. And in 2023, they donated $2,100 to the Wilberforce and Cardiff schools, Halliburton and Bancroft hospitals, Highlands East Volunteer Fire Department, and the Legion Poppy Fund for veterans. They also purchased a projector for inside the hall, as well as a screen so that they could, and the hookups so that somebody could have a slideshow or do a similar presentation to a Zoom call, and that could be used. So, and they purchased some other items which totaled around $1,600 for the Harcourt Community Center. There's also a sewing group that meets out there weekly, and they make cancer quilts for cancer patients and for people that have lost their homes to fire, and that's something they've been doing for many, many years. 2 years ago, I included some pictures that they had of the women busy working. So that's just something that happens out in Harcourt on a regular basis.
Okay. Anything to add, Tammy? She's got it all. Okay. Resolution, Mallory?
Yeah, be it resolved that council receives the Harcourt Ladies Committee year in review report as information.
Mover and seconder. Tammy and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
We're trying. Public Works.
We just have bylaw, just one quick report first.
Okay.
Oh, are we ready? Good morning, everyone. Yes, we just have the one request here. We received a request from Algonquin Outfitters to install no parking signs next to their driveway. They're having issues with basically people think it's a parking spot in front of the driveway and people are blocking it. We received a photo from them, and I've been driving by frequently since we received the request, and about half the time I've driven by, there's been somebody parked there. That's kind of the background on that.
I thought there used to be one there, but could be wrong.
So there's a sign on the private portion of the property that says, please don't block driveway, but the way that the location that can be installed at, or where it is, it looks like it's referring to the Foodland driveway, not the Algonquin Outfitters driveway.
Oh. Okay.
Haley, I'm not sure why in my file, I have a picture that's facing toward Bernstein's. Are we not talking about the one there?
Yeah, so
entrance onto Maple Avenue?
no, on to Highland. Sorry. At 216 Highland is the address, right next to the Foodland. So this photo is inside Algonquin Outfitters taking a picture of the road here. So you see this black SUV is parked in front of the driveway.
Will I go on the inside of the sidewalk then? So we don't block no removal again?
Yeah, or the option that they had proposed was putting it on this lamppost here.
Oh, okay. That's simple. Yeah. Well, I think they need it probably.
They definitely do. I think it's, like she said numerous times, you'd see it's blocked.
Yeah. Okay, so we need to, we're agreeing with that then. So Have a resolution, Mallory?
Sure. Be it resolved that council accepts receipt of the request from Lee Howell and further directs its staff install a no parking sign next to the Algonquin Outfitters driveway. And update the parking control bylaw accordingly for the installation of the sign.
Mover and seconder. Barry and Carm, all in favor? Barry.
I just have a quick question. The sign that is kind of behind that SUV that's crooked, what does that say?
So that is the one I was referring to that says, don't block driveway, but because it is crooked, I don't know if it's because it's crooked or just the location of it. It does give the appearance that it's referring to the Foodland driveway.
So you just have to take that sign off and take that post out and put it on the lamp post? Is that what you're doing? Or are you gonna use both signs?
We could probably leave that one there. I mean, it would need to be fixed, obviously, because it is crooked. But I believe that we have some no parking signs that we can put up on the lamppost as well. That one is a private sign. It's not an official municipal sign with their bylaw quoted or anything like that.
Hello, Haley. This isn't on the agenda, but I don't know whether you can or not, but could you give us a quick update on Wigamog?
I would say there's nothing.
What went on the meeting there, like exactly?
Right, so that was mostly with the MECP and kind of them going over what they would require. We can't push the Wigamog to go faster than they can accomplish the MECP requirements. So most of the demolition and removal is going to be on hold until the MECP requirements are met. Right now, we're focusing on making sure that the site is being maintained secure. We did confirm that all of the ground level windows and doors that have been broken have been boarded up, and any ones that are not broken are currently locked. There's been fences put up around both pools. And we're basically, I'll be monitoring that regularly to make sure that the security is maintained until the MECP requirements are met, and then we can proceed with going through the demolition and removal.
Thank you.
Those requirements, Haley, in a nutshell, if it's something.
In a nutshell, basically the biggest one is based on the floor area of the Wigamog. There's certain requirements that need to be met for a waste diversion plan, just basically where all of the different waste is going to go, and it needs to be separated, I believe, on site as opposed to being brought to a facility and separated there. And then there's a few other items regarding, I think, species at risk, just an assessment for that.
So that's just for the main building, but does this pertain to the outbuildings that they've already knocked down and are laying all over the place, or what?
I believe so, yeah. So the wording that I've received, it refers to project. So it's the floor area of every building being knocked down contributes to it.
Oh, never heard of that before.
Yeah, well, we're working with the MECP on making sure that everything gets done, but yeah, I can't push any more until their requirements are met.
Well, that's all you can do right now is wait, I guess. Hurry up and wait. Yep. Anything else for Haley? Okay, thank you. Dave?
Good morning, council. Good morning, Mayor. This is my road maintenance status report for November 2023. Construction, we completed our ditching and our culverts on Bitter Lake Road, Kinesis Lake Road, and Provost Trail, basically. Emergency washouts, I have nothing to report. Subcontractor Bosch Kong Tree Services has completed their trees on emergency basis. Subcontractor Yard Boys for brushing was completed start of November. Ditching, like I mentioned, we completed that. Moving on to pothole patching, obviously, when we can and when the weather allows, we do continue to patch potholes. Snow plowing and sanding is ongoing. And winter patrol started on November 10th.
Okay. Any discussion with Dave on any of those items?
Dave, you're around for later on in the day?
Yes, I am.
I got a question to ask, so I'll be giving you a call.
Not a problem at all, Walt.
Thank you.
Tammy?
Okay, thank you.
I'm just checking to see if when you have, or when it was, Christine Crescent and Constance Road for ditching.
Yes, for ditching, I didn't have that on my list for ditching.
Do you know when the last time it was done?
No, I started here November 2022 and I'm not aware of the last time it was done, no.
Is there a record or would there be a record?
I could potentially look that up for you, not a problem. I wouldn't have that on hand right now.
Could you just get, whenever there is a truck going by on Elephant Lake Road, could they stop in and see what the new ditching is like and how it's going to affect the road ditching in the spring? Because I've had several people call about it because they're worried about what their property is going to look like come spring. So if you guys, if your guys could go check and see the new ditching that's happened there in the last month, and then see how it's going to affect the ditching that hasn't been ditched for years.
And what's the exact location for that? So I can look at that?
Constance, off of Elephant Lake Road to Christine, and Christine to
Okay.
Constance. It's probably right, not too far right across from Constance.
Okay, I'll have a look at that myself and then I'll get back to you on that, okay?
Yeah, and the ditching is on the right-hand side of Christine. The new ditching.
Okay. Okay.
So who did that?
No.
Yeah, was that a private contractor that did that or?
That's a private
That-
property, and they're following their site plan agreement. But the residents are still concerned about what's going to happen come spring.
No, I know exactly what you're speaking of. So I looked at this and the residents were worried about drainage, so they were putting their drainage out towards the main road, towards the Dysart Road, correct?
Yeah, the ditching is going straight to Christine off the private
Okay.
property.
Okay, I did see this in the past, but I will I'll look further into it. And like I said, I'll get back to you on that.
Okay, yeah, it was just done in the last month.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Okay, Mallory, you. Resolution.
Be it resolved that council receives this report outlining roads maintenance activities for November 2023 as information.
Mover and seconder. Pat and Barry, all in favor? Carried. Okay, Ridgeview Road, who's doing that? You doing that, Dave? Or who?
It
We
was
had-
Rob's report, but Rob's not able to be here today. This is
We had
just.
it here last, we had it here last. month.
Exactly. This is just a review of assuming that the remainder there of Ridgeview Road.
No, we're taking some cash, right? Okay, I guess everybody remembers that? Good. Okay, Mallory, you do a resolution.
Yep, I'll read the resolution. Be resolved that bylaw 2023-118 being a bylaw to assume a portion of Ridgeview Road, the municipal road into the municipal road system for public use, be read a first, second, and third time passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached here too. And further that the securities help of the municipality is part of Plan 19M14 in the amount of $20,250 be placed into the road's capital reserve for use on resurfacing of Ridgeview Road extension at a later date.
Mover and seconder, Carm and Nancy, all in favor? Carried. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Dave.
Sorry, thank you.
Okay. Okay, finance. Barb's not here today. Barb's not here, so are you the financier?
It's just two basic reports, so.
Yeah, I know, they're pretty straightforward.
You want me to read the resolution for
Yeah,
the check summary? Okay, so be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the November 2023 check summary.
Questions? Mover and seconder, Barry and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Tax applications.
So I'll read that one as well. Be it resolved that council authorizes tax adjustments for applications made under section 357 of the municipal act as amended as follows. Municipal portion, $187.55. County portion, $139.94, and education portion is $90.79.
Okay. No, can't discuss much of that. Fact, mover and seconder, Walt and that. All in favor? Carry. Okay,
The next item is the resolution to receive about Sam Slick Park.
any discussion on that? Apparently they thought there wasn't enough discussion on that. Thought we had enough, but anyway. So there's no discussion, so have the resolution then.
Okay, be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the correspondence from local residents Barb Fraser, Linda Shadbolt, Myrna McBrien, and Sue Shikazi and Judy Paul expressing their concerns with council's decision to rescind the direction to rename Sam Slick Park.
Okay. Heard the resolution. Any discussion? All in favor? Mover and second, I guess I better have. Pat and Barry, all in favor? Carry.
And then the next one is just the remuneration bylaw, which we've already reviewed. It's just coming back to pass now.
Okay.
Do you want me to read the resolution?
Absolutely. You're-
All right, be resolved that bylaw 2023-108 being a bylaw to establish a remuneration rate for members of council. You read it first, second, and third time, pass, sign, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Mover and seconder. Nancy and Barry, all in favor? Okay. Do you want to have a 10-minute break? We're not doing badly. Okay. Okay, we'll move along then with planning with Jeff. Chris is coming up first. Chris?
Yeah, thank you. So no concerns out of the public meeting, and staff recommend approval of the application.
Okay,
Read the resolution if you'd like.
you sure can.
Okay, be resolved that bylaw 2023-109, which is a bylaw to adopt OPA 4, official plan amendment for lands of Casey's Water Well and Geothermal Incorporated on part lot 8 and 9, concession 5 in the geographic township of Dysart, municipality of Dysart et al. Be read a first, second, third time, signed and the corporate seal attached thereto. Staff are directed to forward OPA 4 to the county of Haliburton for approval. And be it resolved that council approves bylaw 2023-110 to amend zoning bylaw 2005-120 for the lands of Casey's Water Well and Geothermal Incorporated, which would change the zone on the subject lands from extractive industrial zone and environmental protection zone to general industrial -11 exception zone and environmental protection zone. Be read a first, second, and third time, pass, sign, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, have a mover and seconder then. Nancy and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Just make a note there, Mallory, that Pat refrain from voting.
Yep, I will for sure.
I'm not for sure. Okay, next.
Yes, thank you. So this is the official plan and zoning bylaw amendment to permit, amongst other things, additional dwelling units.
Right.
The council meeting in November, council generally accepted those amendments, subject to some changes to revert the provisions relating to marine facilities and rafts. So this has been done and all comments received to date have been addressed as per the table in the report. I just wanted to note one thing that if the zoning bylaw is approved today, it won't come into effect until the official plan is approved by the county. But once that occurs, it will be in effect. So subject to any further comments from council, staff recommend approval of both bylaws.
And that probably wouldn't be till January, would it? I don't think it's on the agenda.
Well, staff haven't made application to the county yet, so I'm still thinking it's going to be a few more months
A few more, okay.
before it gets to the public meeting and gets approved by the county. So by springtime, people should be permitted to build additional dwelling units.
On their lots, good. Okay. Okay, resolution, Mallory?
Be it resolved that bylaw 2023-111, which is a bylaw to adopt official plan amendment number 3, a housekeeping amendment to the municipality of Dysart et al. Official plan, be read a first, second, and third time, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto. Staff are directed to forward the official plan amendment number 3 to the county of Haliburton for approval. And further, that bylaw 2023-112, being a housekeeping amendment to zoning bylaw 2005-120, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay, you've heard that. Discussion? Mover and seconder. Nancy and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Next.
Next is a bylaw to authorize the execution of a license of occupation agreement with Ken and Ruth Hare for use of a shore road allowance located across from their property on Elmhurst Lane. Elmhurst Lane is located on Kinesis Lake, and this license will permit a dock. Staff did provide notice as per policy 32, and 2 new comments were received. Mike Earhart and Joanna Balge, who are neighboring property owners, submitted a letter of support. Kathy Stone, who also lives on Elmhurst Lane, also provided support for the proposal so that the applicants can have a safe docking facility. As noted at the meeting in October, a letter of concern was received from Ruth Buck, who is a neighboring property owner. I'm not going to summarize these again because they were in October unless council would like me to. But a license is attached for council's review today. But based on the policy, staff recommend approval of the bylaw.
I couldn't see anything wrong with it, but. Okay. Any more discussion on that, or I think staff's recommendation is good. I think it's. Don't see what the objection is. Doesn't seem to be interfering. Resolution then, Mallory?
Okay, be it resolved that bylaw 2023-113, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a license of occupation agreement with Kenneth and Ruth Hare for use of part of the shore road allowance in lot 13, concession 2, in front of the road allowance for Hemlock Crescent, plan 374, in the geographic township of Havelock, be read a first, second, and third time, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay. Discussion? Mover and seconder? Carm and Barry, all in favor? Carried. Next.
Next is a deeming bylaw application for the lands of Nesbit to merge their 2 adjacent lots so that they can be used as 1 lot for development purposes. Subject to council comment, staff recommend approval of the bylaw.
Pretty straightforward. Resolution, Mallory?
Be it resolved that bylaw 2023-114, which is a bylaw to deem lots 148 and 149, registered plan 482 in the geographic township of Dudley, not to be within a plan of subdivision for the purpose of section 53 of the Planning Act as amended, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto. This bylaw is intended to allow lot 148, plan 482 to merge with on title with lot 149, plan 482, so that they can be used as 1 lot for development purposes.
It's making the situation better, I would say. Mover and seconder? Barry and Walt, any concerns? All in favor? Good. Thank you. Carried. Next.
And next is a bylaw to close and convey the shore road allowance in front of the lands of Burton on Cushagawigmog Lake. Staff received general comments from the county regarding this request. And those comments will be provided to the applicant, but subject to council direction, staff recommend approval of the bylaw.
Okay. There was buildings on there, wasn't it? That were there previously.
Yeah, so you had a delegation from Mr. Porter, I think it was last month or the month before, just trying to recognize an old shed down by the lake, which was recognized by our official plan.
There you go. Okay, resolution.
Be it resolved that council approves bylaw 2023-115, being a bylaw to stop up, close and convey a portion of the original shore road allowance in front of part lot 6, concession 7, geographic township of Dysart. Be read a first, second and third time, pass, sign, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Mover and seconder. Nancy and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Okay, next.
So bylaws 2023-116 and 117 are a road closing bylaw and associated deeming bylaw to facilitate the closure and conveyance of a shore road allowance in front of the lands of Bartucci on West Lake. Staff did receive comments from Mr. Watson on behalf of Mr. and Mrs. Sheehan, who are the neighboring property owners. Their concerns seem to be centered around proposed development and site alteration at the shoreline and along the creek. Staff did advise Mr. Watson that future development must comply with all applicable setbacks in the zoning bylaw, as well as the provisions of the site alteration bylaw. Staff seek direction from council if they have any questions regarding these comments, but subject to any direction, staff still recommend approval of the bylaws.
Discussion on that? All in favor? Carried. Mover and second, I guess I should have got Nancy and Carm.
Okay, do you want me to read the resolution?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, but I've got the mover and
Go
second.
ahead, feel free.
Yeah, be it resolved that council approves bylaw 2023-116, being a bylaw to stop up, close and convey a portion of the original shore road allowance in front of part lot 2, concession 3 in the geographic township of Harburn. Be read a first, second, third time, pass, sign, and the corporate seal attached thereto. And further be it resolved that bylaw 2023-117, which is a bylaw to deem lot 20, registered plan 571 in the township of Harburn, not to be within a plan of subdivision for the purpose of section 53 of the Planning Act, as amended, be read a first, second, and third time, pass, sign, and the corporate seal attached thereto. This bylaw is intended to allow lot 20, registered plan 571 to merge with the shore road allowance, which has been closed and conveyed pursuant to bylaw 2023-116. And I've got Nancy and Carm as mover and seconder.
I knew there was a reason I didn't ask you to read that. It was quite long.
Yeah, it is.
No problem. Okay. All in favor of that? Good. We did finally get it right. Okay, next.
The next item contains draft bylaws related to an application by Mr. and Mrs. Woods to purchase the shore road allowance in front of their property on Halliburton Lake. Staff did provide notice and circulation for the application. We did receive general comments from the county that will be provided to the applicant. A registered survey was not provided at the time of the bylaws, so we could not finalize them. So staff recommend deferral of these bylaws until we do receive that survey.
Okay. Discussion? You're recommending this?
Recommending deferral because we don't have a registered survey, so we could not complete the bylaws
I
today.
think we should go along with that. Mover and
So I'll read. So be it resolved that council defers the bylaw to stop up, close and convey a portion of the original shore road allowance in front of part lot 18, concession 10 in the geographic township of Harburn, and the bylaw to deem lots 12 and 13, registered plan 348 in the township of Harburn, not to be within a plan of subdivision for the purpose of section 50 brackets 3 of the Planning Act as amended until a registered survey is provided.
Okay, mover and seconder. Pat and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Okay, next.
So next is another road closing application made by Mr. Morse and Miss Sauer. Purchased the road allowance in front of their property on Bush Wolf Lake. There is 2 outhouses located on the property, but no structures located on the shore road allowance. So subject to council comments, staff recommend approval to process this application.
Pretty fancy outhouses, the one. Okay, guess we could read that resolution now, Mallory.
Okay, be it resolved that council approves for processing an application by Mr. Morse and Ms. Sauer to purchase a portion of the shore road allowance along the shore of Bush Wolf Lake in front of their property in part lot 29 and 30, concession 1, geographic township of Guilford. These lands are declared surplus.
Okay, discussion? Mover and seconder, Tammy and Walt, all in favor? Carried. You have a concern? No, it's okay. Next.
One last road closing application made by Mr. Paul to purchase the shore road allowance in front of his property on Tedious Lake. The locations of both the dwelling and frame shed are recognized pursuant to the official plan. They are both located on the shore road allowance. There is a hot tub located on the shore road allowance, which does not comply with the minimum water setback. Its location is not recognized pursuant to the official plan, and a condition has been recommended. There is also a shipping container located on the property, which is not permitted by the zoning bylaw. It's not located on the shore road allowance, so we recommended a condition that bylaw enforcement review that compliance issue. As per the photographs, a portion of the shoreline vegetation buffer appears to be maintained lawn, and a condition is included. During the last 2 council meetings, council seemed to have some questions regarding the shoreline conditions recommended by staff. So we did add a bit more detail to this staff report, just kind of outlining and highlighting the policy that's guiding staff recommendations. So I'm happy to answer any questions about that. But in short, natural shorelines are a primary objective of the Dysart official plan. The official plan further states that the sale of road allowances at council's sole discretion and subject to whatever conditions council deems appropriate. In this instance, given that the municipality currently owns that shore road allowance, this is a good opportunity for council to renaturalize the shoreline before it is sold. As per council's decisions the last couple of months, staff did contact the applicant to see if they were agreeable to the proposed condition. Mr. Paul's agent responded that obviously they would prefer that there were no conditions attached to the land sale. Staff request direction from council with regards to the conditions and approval to process this application.
So you could naturalize it by just leaving it alone.
Yes, that's right. And there, as I've mentioned before, you do not have to let the entire thing grow. So he would be allowed 5 meters around the frame shed, 5 meters around the dwelling, 3 meters around any other structures such as docks and stairs. You're allowed a 5-meter path. So there's areas where he can have cleared areas. And then the rest could just grow. That's right. He doesn't have to bring in plantings or anything like that.
Let it grow.
I know this lot. And if you look where it is, there's no grass in the lot. There's just, and the house burnt down a couple years ago there, right? But if you look around the shoreline, it's all the same structure they've got that never been developed.
Yeah.
So what's natural?
Well, that is natural.
That is a natural shoreline.
Yeah.
It might not be to our standards of what we want, but that is a natural shoreline.
That's natural, so that you can't touch that.
No.
So we think there is natural shoreline there. Yeah, Jeff.
And I just want to note for council that we have worded the conditions in a way that if they do comply and if that is natural, then there's no further work required by the applicants.
And who makes that call?
Well, so when there's conditions put on these applications, it's up to the applicant to provide that they've met those conditions. So they would contact us, say they've met those conditions. We'd visit the site and say whether or not they have.
Well, I think we could try that way. Should work. If it's natural, it's natural.
Could there be a condition put in that it remains the condition it's in?
Mhm. What you don't want them doing is cutting that more stuff down.
Right, so we say it remains in the condition it's in.
Can we do something like that, Jeff?
Well, I guess I'm not sure, like, so if it is natural right now, the condition to have it renaturalized in compliance with those policies, it would meet that intent. To have a condition that says leave it as is, if it doesn't comply with those policies, then they're not required to let it regrow.
Thing is, nothing grows under pine trees,
No,
right? It's acidic, and that's acidic soil around that whole side of that lake. So
You can't really cut anything down because of the tree cutting bylaw too, right?
yeah.
And that's where staff are getting a lot of their direction is from that tree cutting bylaw. In front of the dwelling where those pines are, that's not the area of concern for staff. It's more in front of the shed located near the water where you can see that there's some grass that appears to be cut. On the last slide, and it's the right two pictures.
Jeff, you're looking at the shed that has the toys and stuff in front of it there?
Correct. And then the picture above it as well. There's some snow there, but in previous pictures staff had from a minor variance, that is grass as well.
Well, you could do two things. I think you could tell them it's natural now, most of it, and just don't do anything to disturb or increase that little area in front of the shed. Let it go.
you can see in front of the shed that there's all whatever kind of brushes went between the grass and obviously where the sand beach is. Nothing's gonna grow there either, but so grass is better than just sand, is it not?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's something. It's got roots. But, well, like you say, you got pine trees. It's hard to do much with it.
The one on the lake's the same way.
Yeah. So what's this resolution going to say, Mallory?
If you wanted to remain, so we can say, we can direct that the vegetation buffer remain natural to the full depth of the water setback. Does that sound good?
Close enough, I guess.
Yeah, so I can read what we have right now and then council can let me know if they want anything changed. Be resolved that council approves for processing an application by Tulloch Engineering on behalf of Mr. Paul to purchase a portion of the shore road allowance along the shore of Tedious Lake in front of their property in part lots 17 and 18, concession 8 in the geographic township of Guilford. Pursuant to section 3.2.7 of the official plan, the hot tub and contained outdoor storage unit shall be removed or brought into compliance with the zoning bylaw. These lands are declared surplus. And further, the council directs that bylaw enforcement review the subject lands for compliance issues with respect to applicable bylaws. And further directs that the shoreline vegetation buffer will remain natural to the full depth of the water setback, consistent with the intent of the official plan, zoning bylaw, and site alteration bylaw.
No, it doesn't really go whether that reads right or not.
I'm just reading about the depth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So the full depth is 30 meters, right?
In this instance, it would be 20 meters to recognize the existing
overall.
development.
No, that's not quite so bad.
But the road's only 5 feet from the.
I just not say that it's fine the way it is, except respect the tree cutting bylaw. That's, no, in other words, don't be cutting any more trees down unless you get approval.
Well, they have to
What
do that
are
anyway.
we trying to what are we trying to get them to do here? All this
I don't think you
discussion.
should have to do anything.
What-
We're stalled. Have you?
The other the council can take it out too. The tree bylaws is administered obviously by the county, so we don't need to put it and follow the tree bylaw. That's not, they need to follow the tree bylaw. But so the other option, if you don't like it, is to remove that condition. But and just leave it after the bylaw enforcement department line.
Nobody's gone out and looked at it though. Right? Just-
Looked at the shoreline?
Yeah.
Yep, building department staff were out there, and that's where these pictures came from.
It's just hard to tell what natural.
What
That's
is, what's
That's the
natural?
biggest thing is what do we can't make them plant
Well,
something
if
that's
you
not
don't,
natural
if you
to the
don't
lake.
touch, if you don't touch the natural shoreline, it's natural.
Mhm.
It's been that way for 100 years.
And that lot's been like that as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
And 40 years ago. Other than there's a house missing now because it burnt down.
Can we just say it's fine?
Yeah. Okay, well, I think they want to go ahead with it. Yeah.
Okay, so do we want to take that condition out of the resolution?
Yes.
Yes, okay, so I'll read, so the resolution reads the same, it just doesn't have the final line about the vegetation buffer then.
Okay. We could sneak something in there, or areas where it isn't natural shoreline that he makes an effort to work toward it, which is pretty soft. He doesn't.
Makes an effort.
Makes an effort to, that would maybe wouldn't leave us completely out of the picture. Does that sound a little better, Jeff? That we have something in there that encourages them to do something.
And as I mentioned, that's the way the condition is, that's the way I wanted it to be worded, is that if it complies, so if that won't grow and that's the way it is naturally, he does comply. He's not going to have to do anything. It's just if he is cutting the grass down by the lake, then he's supposed to stop cutting it. So it's worded that he's supposed to bring it into compliance. If it already complies, then he doesn't have to do anything. But
So
it is at council's discretion.
The way it was amended is to say remain, so basically don't, so I said further directs the shoreline vegetation buffer will remain natural. Is that an okay way to word it?
Yeah.
Yes, so if it's remaining.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, we good?
Okay, so the resolution, should I reread the resolution or does everyone understand what it says? One more time? Okay. Be resolved that council approves for processing an application by Tulloch Engineering on behalf of Mr. Paul to purchase a portion of the shore road allowance along the shore of Tees Lake in front of their property on part lots 17 and 18, concession 8 in the geographic township of Guilford. Pursuant to section 3.2.7 of the official plan, the hot tub and contained outdoor storage unit shall be removed or brought into compliance with the zoning bylaw. These lands are declared surplus. And further, that council directs the bylaw enforcement department to review the subject lands for compliance issues with respect to applicable bylaws. And further directs that the shoreline vegetation buffer will remain natural to the full depth of the water setback, consistent with the intent of the official plan, zoning bylaw, and site alteration bylaw.
Okay. Mover and seconder. Carmen Berry, all in favor? Carried. Okay, next, we have someone coming in on the next one.
They're just here if there's any questions. So this one is for the proposal to establish a legal access over the granting lot of the subject lands, which is the Henderson and Woodhouse, to the benefiting property. The area labeled as proposed easement number 2 for driveway access on the severance sketch is subject to this application. And it is recommended that council support the general principle of the proposal, subject to satisfying the imposed conditions as outlined in the report.
Okay, you read that. No opposition to this?
Nope.
No. Any discussion on it? You know it? Yeah. Okay. Yes, we're good for a resolution then, Mallory.
Okay, be it resolved that council supports the general principle of the proposal for severance for file number D00SV 2023-024, lands of Henderson and Woodhouse, subject to the comments and conditions detailed in the staff report.
Okay, mover and seconder. Barry and Walt, all in favor? Carried. Okay,
And the next one is just to complete the establishment of the legal access. So this is a proposal to establish legal access over the granting property of Buckingham to the benefiting property. For clarity, the sketch is attached with the report identifying the area which is subject to the application labeled as proposed easement number 1 for driveway access. And it is recommended that council support the general principle of the proposal, subject to satisfying the imposed conditions as outlined in the report.
discussion on that, any discussion? Okay, resolution?
Okay, be it resolved that council supports the general principle of a proposal for severance for file number D00-SV 2023-025, lands of Buckingham, subject to the comments and conditions detailed in the staff report.
Okay, mover and seconder. Carmen, Pat, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Next. Appointment.
I'm on mute, sorry. The last item is to reappoint the 4 council members to the Committee of Adjustment for the term of 2024. This is a requirement of the Planning Act. As per the report, staff recommend that Councillors Boyce, Donaldson, Casey, and Sawyer be reappointed for this year. If you have any questions, let me know.
So that would mean 3 months apiece then, is that what we're saying?
We typically allow the councillors to decide themselves. What we've done this year was for full year increments. So there's a 4-year term of council, and councillors can choose a full year each if they want.
And I assume Nancy and Walt were left out because they had previous experience.
I'm not sure why they were left out last year. These were the councillors that were put forward by council.
They didn't want them on there. I think you've been on there quite a while, haven't you? And so has Nancy. No. It's good experience for you, that's all. You'd like to stay?
Yeah, I don't mind staying at all. I mean, I don't want to take an opportunity from somebody, away from somebody else if they want to join in, but I'm certainly happy staying there.
And Tammy, you've had experience on it. It was just, I think we should get some experience with all of you for a couple of months at least, just to see that, I don't mind you staying on, but I'd like him to sit in on a couple, and Pat too, at some point here. Just.
Not very often anymore.
And sometimes it depends too, if you're busy in July and August, it might be easier for one of you to come than the others, you know. So anyway, you work it out among yourselves. Okay. Reports. Oh, we have the appointment, yeah.
Yeah, do you want me to read the resolution?
Why, sure.
Okay, be it resolved that the following members of council are appointed to sit as members of Committee of Adjustment for the 2024 calendar year, effective January 1st, 2024. Barry Boyce, Tammy Donaldson, Pat Casey, and Carm Sawyer.
Okay. Mover and seconder, Tammy and Nancy, all in favor? Carry. Okay. Okay, we're jumping right into the reports. Tammy, it's your goal.
Well, you've already had the Harcourt report.
No, we
so-
did. We did.
Everybody knows everything that's going on in Harcourt now. I'm good.
Yeah, it's good, pretty good report from the hall board. there.
Yes.
Okay. West Guilford,
Not a whole lot to report. We're just gearing up to get some painting done. They're talking about changing the locks first because too many people have too many keys for the center, so they're gonna, we're getting that changed. Hoping to get a grant together for next year to get some new washrooms. So Rob's coming to our next meeting and with a kind of a design. We're gonna probably have to hire an engineer to do the drawing so we can be ready when the grant comes out. We can maybe get set forward to it. So because the biggest thing, our washrooms aren't handicaps acceptable, so we have to do something with that.
yeah, it's the trouble with an older building, isn't it?
Well, and then it's how do you put it in?
Yeah.
Right, there's only so much room, so.
Yeah.
I think instead of having two bathrooms with two handicap, we're gonna go with two bathrooms plus just one handicap.
It's a lot easier now when there's, both sexes can go into the
Yeah,
same bathroom.
Yeah. So anyway, that's where it sits.
Okay. Good, thanks, Carm. Rails End, no meetings since last time, Nancy?
Maybe we have one Thursday.
Thursday, okay. BIA, Pat?
I was absent there for that last meeting, so definitely something to report on the next one.
Okay.
And I have a resolution just to accept the minutes that they provided, if I can read it if you'd like.
Sure.
So be resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the minutes from the September 26, 2023 Downtown Halliburton BIA Board of Management meeting as information.
Okay, Mover?
Murray, just before we do that, I just noted here in the minutes, they wanted me to bring up, it's minor issue, I think, minor detail, but expanding the BIA area. So anyway, they asked me to bring it before council, and as far as I'm concerned, it's great.
Yeah, the bigger the area, better.
Yeah.
Going down to Halliburton Lumber down that way?
Yeah. To Halliburton Timber Mart, Home Hardware, Todd's Independent. It's more or less going, I guess, west and a bit more east, like there's a couple.
Yeah.
Like Katie Hammersmith's place is not in it, but across the road they are, so it's just an adjustment.
And should be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that process is pretty legislated, but we can bring that forward in the new year for sure. It involves some consultation with businesses, I believe. I haven't gone through one before, but I know it involves some steps, so we can look into that if council would like in the new year.
Another issue that keeps coming up is the flowers. BIA used to look after the flowers. They bought them and they put them up and they monitored them, and somehow we got involved. I don't think it's ideal for us.
I believe we get paid for watering.
We do, but now we gotta have a four-wheeler and we can't do it with a pickup, and we really should be doing it at 6 o'clock in the morning, not at 8. Because when there's no
They
traffic.
do start
but-
at 5 or 6 in the morning doing it before.
Well, they should be off the street then by 6:30. Shouldn't be a car problem then. But I don't know why we get into doing stuff and then we complicate our staff and need more staff when it's somebody else's responsibility. But it'd be nice to know if they could do it, that's all.
I think when it was handed back to us, it was because they couldn't find contractors anymore who could get the insurance and the equipment to do it, so they asked council to take it over for a fee.
Well, we better be making money on it, not losing.
You want me to bring that up?
Well, you can ask
BIA,
them
Murray?
if they're capable of doing it
Sure.
again.
I know one thing that staff have asked too at one point, and Andrea Mueller may be able to fill you in a bit, is about potentially lowering the baskets so that they don't have to get up as high to get them. I think they have them down lower in
Yeah,
Minden.
Ken Mounts is lower, Minden's is
And it
lower.
works a little better, so maybe that's something to ask them about too.
Okay.
But they are still buying them, right?
Yes.
Okay. Harvest Halliburton.
Oh, I just need a mover and seconder for the
Oh, yeah,
minutes.
you did on the BIA, okay. Carm and Pat, all in favor? Okay. Harvest Halliburton, I doubt they've had a meeting, Pat.
Sorry, Murray, they have not.
Okay. Walt, you haven't had a meeting either, have you? And Barry, did you have your public meeting?
Actually, we did. We had a meeting and I'd really encourage everybody to look, there's a video that they have out. It's really informative. And if you have people that are asking you questions of why the water is going up or why it's going down, or they have all the answers in this video and it really is worth watching. Unfortunately, I forgot my notebook today that I had the where to look at that, but I will find that for you. But I really do encourage you to look at it because it'll answer a lot of questions. And I'm sure you all get questions throughout the year of
we
why the water's this and why the water's that. This explains it. So, anyway.
Once
go
we
ahead.
get that, Barry, is that something we could put on our Dysart website?
It absolutely should go on our website, I think. Yeah.
That brings up another question. Who's maintaining our website?
We have people within each department look after certain things, and Alyssa looked
Quite-
after part of the
Quite
coding.
every time.
Is there somewhere specific? If there's, it's a huge, we have like 18,000 entries or something on that website. So if there's things anybody notices at any time that are out of date, just send them in and we'll have them fixed in
Well, if we
30
got too much
seconds.
on it then. We're trying to maintain too much.
Well, it's everything we're required. It's all the public information that
Oh,
people
okay.
ask all the time for. And
Okay.
but if there's things you notice out of date, for sure, we'll fix them immediately. It's just, there's a lot there. Danielle's started going through it again too, just to proactively look for anything out of date. So
I think
she's
some of
made
our
some
employees are
changes.
not here anymore. That's one of the things I see, but
Well, that could be, but again, if there's something you notice.
yeah, that's
things,
different, yeah.
Just let us know.
Okay. So we have a resolution, I guess, to go into close.
Okay. Be it resolved that council adjourn its regular meeting at 10:53 AM. Write that down, to discuss matters pursuant to section 239, section 2 of the municipal act as amended pertaining to labor relations or employee negotiations, which is the QP collective agreement.
Okay, you heard the resolution, mover and seconder. Pat and Walt, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Gonna shut her down?
Perfect. So I'll read the resolution to confirm.
Yes, you
So,
will.
Be it resolved that bylaw number 2023-119, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the regular meeting of council held on December 12th, 2023, be read a first, second, third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Mover and seconder. Barry and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Now,
All right.
the adjournment.
Be it resolved that council adjourn its regular meeting held on December 12th, 2023 at 11:34 AM.
Mover and seconder, Tammy and Walt, all in favor? Carried. Well, thank you, folks.